I'm here today to speak for the Prospect Lake Community Association and also the Peninsula Stream Society. We understand the process is moving forward, and our concerns are environmental issues around the location at Heartland for the resource recovery. Before I read a motion which we'd like on the record, we do understand the process is going forward. We have an open house on December the 4th, and we're working with Tom Watkins to invite everybody to that meeting so that the community at large, along with staff and councillors and members of CRD, can address some of our concerns around that. Please do come. Please do tell us how this is going forward. You may know that the Peninsula Stream Society and the Prospect Lake Community Association asked to be on the CTAC committee. We were not invited to be on because of the delay in the application. We have had feedback, though, that from Tom, there will be a continued engagement process with the PLDCA, and we're assuming the same with the Peninsula Stream Society. The Peninsula Stream Society is the group that looks after the watershed in the peninsula, and to not have them involved with the environmental issues around the watershed would be a considerable omission, we think. That said, as you go forward to put in the pipelines to Heartland, should that be the case, what is the plan around the trees? The loss of tree coverage is an issue that Saanich is concerned with their own bylaw revision. There's a sense that perhaps the site is not as safe as some people believe, given the current leakage of the leachate at Heartland. What is the resources around that and the recovery issues around that? There's a perception in the community at large that they have not been consulted at the implementation stage, but rather at the delivery stage. I'd like now, if I may, to read in the motion from the PLDCA. Whereas the current liquid waste management plans appears to have been developed through a limited type process that has not procured effectual, broad or innovative proposals, whereas the current liquid waste management plan does not create significant enough opportunities for either integrated resource management or greatly minimized greenhouse gases, whereas it does not appear that a comprehensive risk assessment has been made to include factors such as seismological damage to the proposed pipeline and its surrounding environment, whereas the Prospect Lake Community Association is highly concerned about the potential impact of biosolids transport and processing on the abundance of watersheds, waterways and wells in our region, in addition to air pollution. And whereas provincial regulations require meaningful consultation on any aspects of the development or amendments to the liquid waste management plan, as is also reflected in CRD documents, and yet the PLDCA has not been consulted on any aspects of the development or the amendment of the liquid waste management plan that, if approved, would have such significant impacts on our community. And whereas the federal deadline of 2020 for completion of the liquid waste management plan is 2 years beyond the CRD's targeted deadline of 2018, be it resolved that the Prospect Lake and Community Association reaffirm its previous position that the community put forward to Mayor and Council on November the 14th, 2012, and as was presented here at CRD, and add that the current McLaughlin-Heartland liquid waste management plan be placed on hold until an independent review is completed in order to determine what alternative technologies and sites for the liquid waste management plan could be utilized. This motion is sent to the Mayor and Council, CRD, representative, provincial and federal representatives. Motion carried, PLDCA 10-9-13. So it's difficult for community members to come to these meetings because they're in the middle of the work day. I had to cancel some meetings myself. But the community out there is concerned and would like to be more engaged in deciding on implementation and process. Certainly we hope you come to our meeting on December the 4th. We understand the constraints that a lot of people are working at, and we understand that everybody in this room, we hope, is concerned about the environment and how this process would unfold. As you go forward and address these environmental issues, the incineration of the biosolids, the disposal of biosolids, this will affect your cost envelope. It remains uncertain what the initial cost is going to be, and since we don't know how you're going to dispose of these materials at the end, we don't know what your final cost is going to be. So at some time, the Commission is going to come back to this group and ask to revisit that budget envelope. What are you going to say then? And we know that the three sources of funding, one is federal, one provincial, one Saanich, the first two are capped. So cost overruns will be borne by the residents of these municipalities. So there is a concern that if this was a business, if you were running a business and you didn't know what your end cost would be and your end product would be, and you went to a bank and asked for a loan to fund that business, you'd be laughed out of the bank. As a small businessman, I'm puzzled why you haven't got these end data in place and you're putting the next 20, 30 years of ratepayers' costs at risk. We would ask you to reconsider this plan and look for lower cost alternatives or better yield on your resources. Thank you very much.